must have air, water, soil. Brothers and sisters were saying, save the land, save the land. And I'm still saying, save the land. But you got to understand, we got to have that land pure. We got to make it so that we can. I mean, they're destroying the farmers, right? The black farmers right before our eyes. And white farmers, they're doing the same thing too. The corporations. Our war is with the people who make a President Barack Obama. Our war is with the people who made a President Clinton. They ain't number pawns for big business. We'll turn around and go to the cool jazz fest and those mass murderers. They even put on their cigarettes. If you smoke it, it's hazardous to your health, but then you got a choice. You know, what kind of choice is that? Well, they're addicted it to you. Like they addicted our children to kitty crack from the beginning. And then we want to look at them when they can no longer function in the schools. And you know, they're thrown out on the street and because they can't get that kitty crack, and they're ready to knock somebody in the head. Because they done knock somebody in the head, they can no longer get a job if they pull themselves together. They did this all on a political watch. You know? They did. But I'm saying it's not the fault of the state representatives who didn't do anything. And you know, people say, well, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do?
No real shows, you know. We can throw our own real shows, though. You know, you don't see him, you know, running around trying to do it. You see him right now in Atlanta, you see him walking the streets. That's right. You see him, you can find him anywhere. You can find him in any store. Buying stuff, buying survival. He's like us. Not saying that it makes him any less than us, but he's one of those warriors that we have to understand who is taking the position, making a choice to be the God and show how powerful we are. And that's something that's not easy, you know, done, y'all. We have to really understand what it takes to be one on the forefront, a target. You know, all these brothers and sisters who are in jail now, they were targets. So you think they stop targeting people? You know, they ain't finished. But we have to make sure we safeguard those who are still out there doing what we need to do. So I want you to make sure that you build up the energy in the room for our next presentation by our brother, Professor Griff.
Yeah. All right.
Hotel, brothers and sisters.
Hotel,
In divine name of all those names that we give our Creator, the Supreme Being, I want to greet you. The civilized greeting, Hotel.
Hotel.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
All right. We have to give Pam Afrika not a round of applause. We're going to do that too. But in one of these occasions, we're going to allow Pam to just talk without having to apologize for the English language. So let me clear it up right now. It's still a bastard language. It's not ours. Although they've stolen every aspect and every nuance of everyone else's language. The best, probably, of all the other languages to put together this bastard language to speak into existence a non-reality for African people. They made this world over without us in mind. And here we are, we use this particular language, in most cases, to beat one another down. Brother Eric, don't go nowhere just yet. Because this is the 19th anniversary. 19. That's critical. I'm thinking it's the 3rd or 4th. But you've been doing this how long? 19. Let's give this brother a well deserved.
Yes, yes.
We're going to take the weight and the pressure off you next year, brother. Seriously. Just make sure you let us know ahead of time in advance what we can do, because it don't look like it's wearing you out, but we fight a good fight right along. We're still on the front lines. That's right. Okay, let's give that brother a round of applause once again. Thank you very much. Through all those expressions of what we call most of us call religion, some of us call spirituality. We pull on those particular expressions. They're just aspects of the Creator, that all of us just have our way of devotion. And that's shouldn't be foreign to anyone, except if you're locked into religion. Those that were locked into religion years ago never understood hip-hop. Are you following me? Simply because if it wasn't gospel, which we've had that before, We just called it the God spell. If you study the voodoo, it's there. Are you following me? So you can go into any church this Sunday and listen to the older people clapping their hands and tapping their feet. Those are the same rhythmic patterns that you hear in any village in Africa. It's the same thing.
That's right.
You know, we brought it over here in our genetic code, and it took some good brothers up in the Bronx to unlock the code. And it became those particular expressions. So, if you're viewing it from a religious perspective, that's cool, we understand it. That's just where you are right now. I wish I had a timeline up here. I would show you that those of us that are calling ourselves Africans, that's a good thing for now on your way to becoming gods.
Come on, that's right.
Are you following?
Right.
The same with the Moors and the Hebrews and the Muslims and the Christians. Those are methodologies and expressions. And that's fine if that's the method that you have to use. But sooner or later, we're going to have to take the method and say, you know something, enough of the rituals.
That's right.
See, we bask in the rituals.
All right.
Are you following me? And we think the ritual is the thing, and it's not the thing. We have to become. Are you following me?
Yes.
So I want to give it up to Pam Afrika. Let's give her a round of applause. And in case y'all didn't know, Mumia is not free yet. Some of y'all acting like he's free. Are you following me? Some of us that are in this audience and watching this DVD have not done one thing but play armchair revolutionary and talk about us, and not in a very good way. Are you following me? So some of us are playing armchair revolutionary, just waiting for the revolution to happen. Some of us are waiting for brothers like Ashwa Kwesi to open up the Red Sea so we can go back to Africa. I mean, that's cool if he can do. Can you do that, brother? I'm not sure.
Wait for the magic word.
Got that power, I'm not sure. Let's give that good brother a round.
Yes, that's it. Yes.
But until he gets that power, we have to deal with what we have at our disposal. Hip-hop is one of those things that we have that we're slowly really kind of losing. Are you following me? I've been blasted recently on the air and in magazines. We're not going to get into that tonight, but just a little. Because as you know, I'm not a punk, so I'm going to defend myself. In truth and in righteousness. Now, we're not going to start these kind of beefs that's been going on in and outside of hip-hop, especially in the conscious community. Are you following me? I mean, it should be, enough of that. We're grown. We should be. But I want to dive into some of the slides. We need to talk about some of the aspects of hip-hop. And I want to kind of take a few minutes to deal with some of these expressions simply because, we don't own them. Are you following me? I've gone through different phases in my life. In August 1st, I turned 50 years old. I want to become, I want to say this directly to Ashwa Kwesi, one of my elders, and one of the brothers that I study every single week. Brother, I want to become one of the ancestors. I want to be able to pull on the Orishas. You following me? And those are just different expressions. For example, if you're a Christian and you're sitting in the audience and you're tuned and tapped into, I don't know, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, or the disciples of Jesus, those are not real people, brothers and sisters. Now you feel the vibe in the room now? I thought you was going to talk about this. Different aspects of the divine self. That if I woke up this morning and I need to pull on John or Mark, I can do that. The same with the Orishas. But if I need Oshun or Goon, I just pull on it and I become. Are you following me? So the ancestors are not some spooky kind of thing that you kind of light candles and eat damn couscous and light incense about. Are you following me? No, you are the ancestors. The ancestors are in you. Are you following me? And the primary role model, is somebody back me up on this. The primary role model is the creator, God, him and herself. Are you following me? So stop making the sports player and the entertainer the God or the role model. Right. God is the primary role model. Are you following me? So your children should be looking at your behind.
Right.
Then you need to lead by example. I'm sorry I'm talking so brash. This is the 19th Black African Holocaust Conference, and I thought we needed to end that at probably 1 or 2. We should be free by now. Are you following me? See, some of y'all haven't spoke that into existence yet, so you don't know what that feels like. Are you following me? But every day you go on your job and you get frustrated, you say it. But you turn around and go back to work the next day. But that's cool. We need to do that until we can really truly free ourselves. But I'm thankful to be here. We were running a little bit behind schedule. But for some of the people that's not familiar with black people, let me just make y'all familiar about who and what we are. We don't go by the clock. It's their damn clock anyway. You understand what I'm saying? With us as an African people, it happens when it happens, right or wrong. It happens when it happens. This is when it was supposed to happen. What time is it? Now. Good, this is when it was supposed to happen, right or wrong. Okay, it's happening, and you're here, and I'm here. Alright, so we're just going to be quiet for a minute. We're going to pull down all the orishas and ancestors to guide our words and guide our deeds, so that we can take something from this particular small little talk from Pam Afrika and Professor Griff in the spirit of Rosa Clemente, who couldn't be here. Are you following me? So hopefully we can say some words for Rosa. Not only that, we need to kind of open the way. And those of y'all that are familiar with the Ifa and the Yoruba and the Akan tradition, I believe the Akan calls touching the spirit the Yasuka, which is touching the spirit. So hopefully something I can say today will touch your spirit. So you can take from this, all right, and we can touch other people. Are you following me? If you get one thing from this, you're doing your responsibility in your way. And if you don't do it, you will be punished by the ancestors. Are you following me? All right. So let's kind of dive into this. Is it possible we can turn down the lights? Kalanji, you security? Good. All right, so we're good. We can turn down the lights now.
I'm going to be real brief because we don't have a lot of time.
Good?
I don't know if that's doing good.
It's good right here, bro.
You see that? Well, I wanted to talk about
Hip hop. And I reached out to Minister Server, one of the ministers at a KRS-One's camp,
who gave us the acronym for hip hop. Hip hop is high infinite power healing our people. It's high infinite power healing our people.
So those things that we were pulling down from the essence of the God self, it wasn't no joke. Although these people today, the pink people, only deal with one aspect. And some of the demons, the Negroes, I hope we don't have any of those people here today. The Negroes only deal with one aspect of hip-hop, which does hip-hop a disservice because there's three other aspects of hip-hop. Are you following me? That we need to kind of resonate with in order to balance hip-hop out. Now, I've always said, and I'm pulling this from Sister Ra's work, she's always said that if you take the woman and put her back on the throne in hip-hop, we can balance out all of this male testosterone that's going on in hip-hop. Are you following me? But mainly what I want to speak to today
is destroying hip-hop appetite for self-destruction. We need to talk about the psychological covert war on hip-hop as we travel through the metaphysical goddessry of the soul of hip-hop, which ultimately leads us to the Illuminati's takeover of hip-hop.
There's been a lot of talk about this term called Illuminati, which simply means holders of the light. This is not a new phrase or a new term. Are you following me? And we need to understand this particular concept, that these people have been working in and outside of and controlling black culture for a long time. Are you following me? If you just stop by Ashwa Kwesi's table, all the work that he's documented over the years, are you following me, is a test to the fact that these people have been changing the face not only of hip-hop, but history. Are you following me? Ever since we came in contact with them. So it's bigger than hip-hop, and it's definitely beyond beats and rhymes. Frantz Fanon gave us a very critical quote. He said, at a relative obscurity, each generation must discover its mission, fulfill it or betray it. And young people are getting it kind of twisted, who think hip-hop started in 1995 with Biggie and Tupac and Eminem. I think not. Are you following me? But it's our duty, those of us that are in hip-hop, that's supposed to be the guiding young people and teaching them about hip-hop and passing these hip-hop stories and the legacy back to young people. We must know and understand that we have to have this built-in mechanism inside of the culture called hip-hop to defend itself from these invaders. Are you following me? Del Jones calls them culture bandits.
Yes.
Are you following me? And that's a perfect name for them because they, listen, this little cute little dude, what's his name, Justin Bieber or somebody? He's just another Elvis, just another Eminem. Are you following me? What's the little cute, another Ice dude? Are you following me? So I don't see why black people are getting such in an uproar. These are the same culture bandits that have been among us stealing our music for a long time. Now, if y'all came to hear a cute little talk from Professor Griff, y'all not going to get that today. I know that you're in the wrong room. All right? So we have to dive into this particular thing, and we need to tell the story exactly how it really is. Are you following me? Now, I'm going to move right to some of the... You see, I got you when I met you, Pam. You see that? But I have to talk about it. We have to talk about it until people get it. Are you following me? I want to move along. I really don't want to stop at this, but since Juanique mentioned it, younger people now that are coming up in hip-hop are getting a twisted view of what Public Enemy was about. And now young people have to view Public Enemy through the eyes of VH1 and through Flavor of Love. This is definitely not a total representation of what Public Enemy is about. Although Flavor played a very important role in Public Enemy by bringing that element to us to be taught and educated. Are you following me? Yeah. This, outside of the context of what Public Enemy's structure was, is very, 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 very dangerous. Yes. You know, I loved when I was coming up, my brothers and sisters, whom I had 12 of them, introduced me to comedy and Richard Pryor and some of the other things until I grew up to the point where I said, well, this is kind of destructive. Are you following me? But keeping things in its proper context, we have to understand hip-hop in the context in which we tell it, not someone else. Are you following me? I'm going to skip over all the gymnastics and we're going to get right to the point.
That if we pulled hip-hop from the griots who told the stories through the verbal arts, preaching, scat rapping, and right on down to the raw blues, and during the slave era, when we came up with those Negro spirituals.
Some writers say that when we came up with those Negro spirituals during and post-slavery, they said some of those songs were made by only touching the black keys on the keyboard. Are you following me? And if you understand metaphysics, that's deep. Because that particular, those particular notes actually touch your chakras and resonated with your aura. Are you following me? Pulling something out of you that you probably didn't even know exists. So through the God spell and through the urban blues, the rock and roll, through rhythm and blues, especially when we recognize the Four Tops, Temptations, Supremes, Jackson 5 in Motown and what Motown did. But Barry Gordy having to move his company to LA because of the mob. Are you following me? Even when we get down here to Stax Records, how many people by a show of hands know the story of Stax Records on how they were brought down by the government? Are you following me? Even when we talk about Philadelphia International with the OJs and Patti LaBelle and Teddy Pendergrass and other groups, when we talk about Sly and the Family Stone, the Ohio Plains, Earth, Wind and Fire during the funk era with George Clinton, hip-hop took all of that, put it in a barrel and stirred it up. Now some of the things I'm going to show you might make you, we might need a couple of barf bags in here because hip-hop has been brought down to such a level to the point where it's unrecognizable to those of us that actually constructed it, especially during the golden era. So we know and understand that culture is tied to everything that we do and it instructs and informs us. Are you following me? It's that vehicle that transports these ideas, traditions, norms, and values. So in understanding
how the enemy crept in, the culture bandits crept in and set up Viacom, MTV networks, BET, which is Before Entertainment Television, and VH1 and MTV, which networks that allowed Nelly to slide a credit card down the backside of a black woman's butt. Are you following me? That allowed Snoop Dogg to walk black women down the red carpet on dog leashes. That allowed Flavor to come in front of 7.5 million viewers wearing pink, calling himself a pimp. While a black woman in one of the episodes defecated on the damn floor. Are you following me?
Right.
This is embarrassing, but it's not embarrassing to them because the devil will make evil fair seeming. And this is what rap has been brought down to, not hip-hop, because there is a difference between rap and hip-hop. Hip-hop is something that you are, rap is something that you do. Are you following me?
That's right.
Are you paying attention to this? So this is what it's been brought down to. They have changed our music to vibrate at a sexual frequency, a frequency and beat that creates this mental sexual frenzy. And that's what's going on in the hood today. Are you following me? We'll talk about what Neely Full and Dr. Francis Crest Wilson gave us a little bit later on in reference to racism, white supremacy. But those of us that think it doesn't exist, I need you to take a look at this,
Because this grandfather went to Costco and bought this baby doll for his granddaughter.
for those of y'all that think racism is dead and gone because we have an African American president, and we need to talk about that too. The baby is called Little Monkey.
Over here it says monkey has her own bottle too. That fits both baby and monkey.
So racism is alive and well, and it's operating in the culture called hip hop. Are you following me? So now we have white lesbians with this tradition of adopting black children. I'm going to tell y'all straight up, this is against the Geneva Code. Transferring children from one race to the other. Are you following me? So as I start to have people, to get people aware of the concept of becoming symbol literate, I have to point out the fact that Michelle Obama is sending a very symbolic language to her handlers. Are you following me? With the dress that she's wearing is reminiscent of the Black Widow spider. Are you following me? So when we tracked this spider down, we found this spider at The Hague in the Netherlands and at Rockefeller Center in New York City. Are you following me? So this symbology is what we need to grasp because we all need to become symbol literate. On the cover of Vogue magazine, we find Michelle Obama throwing up the Baphomet, which is the unisex go god, which is the symbol that they use to communicate to one another. One of millions, not millions, thousands of hand signals and signs that they use. We got Masons and Shriners and Elks in the room, Freemasons in the room. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So, as we digest this unreality,
Oh boy.
some of us are on the little slow, little yellow bus. We gotta wait for them. You can take it. I'm gonna skip over this. We gotta dive right to this hip hop. Definitely have to shout out the good brother Black Dot. He wrote the book Hip Hop Decoded from its ancient origins to its modern day matrix.
Black Dot teaches us that when we set up hip hop, we pull from the Metrometric, which is the divine writing. And when we pull from the Metrometric, which is the divine writing of the Creator, of God, we set hip hop up based on 4 fundamental elements of the universe: earth, air, fire, and water, which is graffiti, DJing, MCing, and b-boying. And we pulled it from our Black Dot. All right? What happened? The enemy crept in and set up the matrix of hip hop and set it right next to hip hop. So nowadays, we don't even recognize what it is.
Black Dot in his work calls it shit hop. And Brother O'Teen came along and said shit is strategic high intensity training. The gods of the universe. What happened when multinational corporations got a hold of hip hop? This is what it ended up looking like. Are you following me? I'm going to skip over a lot of this because we need to talk about, when we talk about the Illuminati, we need to talk about mass mind control and engineering of human consciousness. Alright? And that's exactly what's going on today. And you can find that work in studying Project MK Ultra and MK Delta. Now, Cat Williams, the comedian, said that all of us need to have some good white friends. Well, I have a few too. Let me introduce you to a few of them, all right? Fritz Springmeier, who gave us the 13 bloodlines of the Illuminati. Tex Mars, who gave us Codex Magica, who taught us and showed us the signs and symbols that they use to communicate with one another. And it's no joke. I'm trying to figure out now,
How did this madness, which is the secret signs, mystery symbols, and hidden codes of the Illuminati, how did this madness end up in hip-hop is my question.
are you following me? So here's some of the signs and symbols that they use, and this is not a coincidence, and this is not Photoshop. Are you following me?
Yeah.
They're speaking the language to one another, locking us right on out of the conversation. We have to become symbol literate. Are you following me? So when I started to study, I started to discover some of the things I used to watch on TV and participate in. So when I pulled up the Jacksons, I noticed that one of the frames had this particular image right here, so I just turned it upside down, and you can see the 666. Are you following me?
Yeah.
So they were there. And I'm sure little Michael Jackson didn't know that he was throwing up the 666 right here. Are you following me?
You got 1 minute.
I'm sure T-Pain knew though. Why he called his album Three Rings. We need to become symbol literate. And in doing that, we need to study Myron Fagan's work, who talked about the Illuminati and the Council on Foreign Relations. This is where I get into a lot of problems with those of us that voted and support Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Y'all need to know that the Illuminati in the America, they're called the Council on Foreign Relations, the CFR. Michelle Obama and Barack Obama are on the Council on Foreign Relations in Chicago. It's not an accident. Are you following me? I see y'all kind of dang on quiet out there, all right? That's good. Well, good. I'm going to turn it up a notch then. So, Edward Bernays, Sigmund Freud's nephew, in The Century of Self, talked about the untold history of controlling the masses through the manipulation of unconscious desires. My question is, once again, how do we get these unconscious desires in us to the point where they control us like automatons? Are you following me? We need to understand that. So what I did was pull up some good, a couple more good white friends. His name is John Todd, a former member of the Illuminati. He was in the Illuminati. He warned us against their plans for world domination before he was framed and effectively discredited by the Illuminati, and his family still can't find his body. Are you following me? He left secret tapes for his family to reveal what happened to him if he comes up missing, and sure enough he came up missing. That the careless one says, I am hip-hop. I cannot respect when little Wendy says, I am hip-hop. Are you following? I mean, little Ray, excuse me. Nothing about this dude is hip-hop. Are you following? Absolutely nothing. So if we base hip-hop on the four fundamental elements of the universe, and how the forefathers of hip-hop had set it up, little Wendy would have a hard time. Are you following me? Because from that frequency and that vibration, all right, it brought us down to this. Now this is saying, which is niggas spelled backwards. Are you following me?
Yeah.
Coming out of jail and prison, all right, taking your belt and your shoestrings from you, your pants are naturally sag. We understand that. But now the butt crack is claiming new cleavage. These brothers are coming out of jail, marrying us on the hip-hop culture. Now this has become hip-hop culture. Are you following me?
Yes.
Hip-hop is not dead. Hip-hop cannot be destroyed. Are you following me? But there's a rap profile operating in hip-hop, and they are doing surveillance on rap artists. Are you following me? This good sister right here, Cynthia McKinney, gave me a, she definitely needs a round of applause. COINTELPRO is in full effect. Alright, they just did a puffy remix on it, that's all. It's part of the Patriot 1 and 2. It's not dead. This is the reason why we're meeting here today. Are you following me?
Yes, sir.
Same old people using the same old tricks, that's all. When has there ever been a time in the history of these people being on this planet when we've never had peace with them?
Never. That's right.
Are you following me?
Where's the plug? Did y'all plug something else?
No, we didn't plug in. Right here, you read the forward for this particular book. John Patash's book, The FBI War on Tupac Shakur and Black Leaders. John Patash did excellent work using the FBI files to show us that he connected the dots.
So where's the cord for the can for the?
And Tupac is it.
No, it's a plug at the other end of it. It's the
very important book.
Another plug.
The thing with Dark Alliance. I think it was a 3-part series that was written by Gary Webb. Guess where they found Gary Webb? Sitting at his typewriter with 2 bullet holes behind the ear. So anyone that speaks to power